Once upon a time, if you would have invited me to a sporting event, I might have came, but I would have told you first with deep conviction that I stick around only until the snacks are gone. And once the snacks are gone, then I am out of there too. My philosophy was that I've got better things to do with my time. It's not a good use of my energy, of my resources, and ain't nobody got time for that. Well, as life would have it, I'm now a mom to 5 boys. So I'm sure you can imagine that Super Bowl Sunday and that playoffs are kind of like a holiday around here. I've learned a little bit since then, and it turns out that maybe I do have time for that. I'm Celeste, and welcome to Astro Mountain. Coming up, hear a little bit about the 5th and 11th house dichotomy, about managing Mars energy, and about why I do, in fact, have a little bit of time for that. Hey, I'm Celeste from Astro Mountain with Celeste, and today, like I mentioned, I'm going to be talking to you about the spirituality of sports. So, of course, there's the very obvious application that we are incarnated into bodies, into vehicles, and of course, these vehicles need to be taken care of. They need exercise and they need movement to be healthy and to stay in balance. But it gets a little deeper than that, and we'll be discussing that today. So, as I mentioned, I have a family with lots of boys in it. Specifically, my second boy has Mars in a trine to his ascendant, and so one of the ways that that manifests for him is that he is full of energy most of the time. He will wake up full of energy and he goes to bed full of energy. He's often the last one asleep and he's always the first one awake. He really loves sports and he needs movement in order to stay in balance. We often just go running with him during the day to help him to release some of that energy and to feel more comfortable and to feel in balance. But beyond that, he really loves sports, especially hockey, but all sports he loves. Running, jumping, basketball, football, soccer, you name it, he's about that. So, of course, as somebody who wants to transmit spiritual values to my children, we've been having conversations about what would be the most efficient way, what would be the most comfortable and productive way for him that would feel the most natural and that he would enjoy the most. And so enter here the spirituality of sports. And so off the top of my head, of course, it seems like sports are kind of an entertainment thing. There's something that is different and apart from our typical spiritual journey, like the things that we would normally think of, such as prayer or meditation, or things like fasting, meeting in community, those types of things. So if you come at it from a different perspective, from the 5th house, 11th house dichotomy, you can see quite clearly how sports can be a catalyst for our spiritual growth and for our journey. The first thing we need to consider is, what do you need to be successful in a team sport? First of all, you need to have a commitment to the group. You need to show up with your skills, with your equipment, with what you have to offer, and you need to offer it to the team. You need to consecrate it to the group and to adhere to the group's values. Beyond that, you need to have a personal and vested interest in it. It needs to be important to you in order for you to be willing to put your effort into it. On the other side of that, you become a part of the team, and so you are encompassed and you are surrounded by the security and by the values and by the support of the other team members. The thing that you have to personally offer becomes a piece of the larger group puzzle of the team. So the 5th house, which is ruled by Leo, this is the place where we shine. This is our place of creativity and self-expression. This is where we are on a stage, where we offer what we have, what is inside of us, where we display it to the world freely and confidently. This expression of self and of creativity, of skills, and of talent, it's done from a heart place, and its intention is purely self-expression. This is me. This is what I have to offer. This is who I am. It shines and it radiates confidently. So this is the fifth house, and we could think of this as a player who comes, a solo player who comes to the team, and they're like, this is what I have. They confidently share what they have, and they offer it to the team for the love of the sport, for the love of the game. For me, one of my fifth house expressions is music. So it's singing, playing the piano, playing the guitar. If you know me really well, then you know that I played on a music team for quite a few years. I don't anymore, but so now this is something that I do on my off time because I love it, and this is my fifth house expression. So sometimes I offer it and sometimes I don't, but this is where I radiate confidently. This is where I give from my heart just because I love it, just for the joy and the satisfaction of creation. So if we go to the opposite side of the wheel, to the 11th house, this is the house that is ruled by Aquarius, and it's the house of groups, of clubs, of communities, of organizations. This is where we will find the team dynamic. This is the place where we consider, okay, I have a talent, I have a gift, I have a skill to offer. Now, how can it serve the larger group? How can it serve the larger community? How can I become a piece of this big mosaic, of this intricate puzzle? How can I work towards the larger goal of the community and of the group? So you can see here that when we consider the fifth house and 11th house polarity, there's a type of inner pruning that happens when you submit your own inner agendas, your own inner desires, and your own inner quest for recognition. When you submit it to the group, and when you acknowledge that what you have, it's not just for you, it's for the larger group, it's for the collective, it's for the progression of everything. So in sports, what you have, what you offer, is for the team, right? Of course you do it because you love it. Of course you are good at it, and you practice for the love of the game and because it's enjoyable to you. And because you have naturally been gifted with that skill or with that ability, or maybe you haven't. Maybe you work at it, and that's still okay. It's still something that you offer, that tenacity and that commitment. But when we transfer it to the other side of the wheel, to the 11th house, we can see that what we have, it does serve us enriched in our use and in our giving of the skill, but it also serves the larger group. So what do you do? What are your skills? What are your talents? What do you have to offer? I encourage you to consider, what are your fifth house skills? What do you have to offer creatively to the world? And I think it's easy to think that what we have, if it's not publicly offered, that it's not valuable or it's not as valuable, but that's not true. And so I encourage you, whatever it is that you do in that fifth house space, whether it's painting, whether it's knitting, golfing, playing soccer on a team, playing hockey on a team, enter that fifth house space with inspiration. Enter it with connection and with a desire to progress, to move forward in your own journey, but also offer it up to the world, that love that emanates from your heart when you're in that place of inspiration and connection, that vibration, it does serve humanity. You may not see it, but that doesn't mean that nothing's happening. I'm Celeste from Astro Mountain with Celeste, coming at you from my home in the beautiful mountains, but also from my place on the proverbial ones. I'm still climbing, and I hope you are too. May your view be inspiring, may your footing be secure, and may your resolve be ever strengthened. I'll see you next time. If you found this information helpful or interesting, please let me know by liking and subscribing. If there's something you'd like to know about, or if you have any comments or questions, comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, I'm available for astrological consultations, and you can find my information pinned below the video.